Relations between Israel and its biggest backer, the United States, have been deteriorating, and they got worse again today after Israeli protesters were filmed blocking aid trucks for Gaza, throwing food packages onto the road and stamping on them, and ripping open bags of grain desperately needed by hungry Palestinians. The White House has described this as the looting of aid convoys and a total outrage. One campaigner who's been working tirelessly to reduce tensions since the outbreak of the war is Sally Abed, a Palestinian citizen of Israel and co-leader of Omdim Bayachad, the Standing Together movement. And she joins me now. Sally, did these pictures cause outrage inside Israel?
Unfortunately, not as much as we wanted to. And we need to note, we are glad, I guess, to see that it is getting more attention. This has been happening for months now. These kind of blockades have been happening for months. Buses organized, called, by settler movements headed and led by Ben Gvir. People like Ben Gvir in the Knesset are actually present at these borders daily, almost daily,
yes,
trying to block aid. And this is not
we've
the
seen
first
blockades.
time.
We've seen blockades. We've seen dancing. We haven't actually seen food being thrown on the ground and destroyed as we have in this case. Are these people who actually want to drive all Palestinians out of the area to extend the level of hunger and destitution that they're feeling, to somehow get rid of them into the sea or wherever? What's the idea?
Right. Obviously, these I don't know even what to call, these really inhumane, evil acts, other than, very extreme right-wing ideological settlers who are called Tzaf Tesha, which is basically their calling is to settle back Gaza and to basically expel all Palestinians from all the land. And that's the only way for their safety. And obviously, one of the ways to do that is to lead to the demise and actually maintain the starvation of Palestinians. What we see is concerning. Obviously, we do know that these are extreme right-wing settler movements. At the same time, it's extremely concerning that they are not only protected or overlooked by the army and by security forces and the police, but sometimes they're actually aided by them and protected by them, which is extremely concerning, especially seeing that many of the political figures today in Israel are completely ignoring these events.
I started off this segment by noting that the relations with the White House and the Israeli government were getting worse all the time. I observe this and I listen to it quite carefully. I have never heard such a note of genuine anger and outrage coming out of the White House before. Do you think people in Israel understand quite how serious a moment this might be for Israeli-US relations?
I do think there is an increased awareness and an increased coverage of this kind of tension. I also think there is an increased isolation of these kind of extremists from the Israeli public. It is also something that we are trying to capitalize on. It is something that we are trying to advance into understanding, not only out of solidarity as a Palestinian Jewish movement. Of course, we want these humanitarian aid to get to Gaza as soon as possible, out of solidarity for the Palestinian people there. But we also understand that this kind of extremism within Israel, which is being normalized more and more and more within our government and led by our government, it's state-backed in many ways, and it has many other translations in the West Bank as well, by the way, these settlers. We also know that they are not serving, and they have no interest in serving not the safety of the Israeli citizens in Israel, both Palestinian and Jewish, and definitely not don't have the interest in returning the hostages back home, or even getting this aid, which will probably, hopefully, also get to the hostages in Gaza.
So a very, very dangerous moment for Palestinians in the region, but also a very dangerous moment for Israel, I suspect.
Absolutely. We truly believe, obviously, we acknowledge today is coincidentally Independence Day, which is also the Nakba Day, the catastrophe day for us Palestinians. And, we see that we are not only closer than ever to a second Nakba for the Palestinians. I think the Israeli people are also the furthest away ever from independence if we want to see independence as safety and as freedom and liberty on this land, unfortunately. And we know that these things are mutually inclusive. Jewish safety is necessarily dependent on Palestinian freedom and independence as well. And we need to understand that. And it is becoming more and more clear. And hopefully we will get at this historic junction to go into that direction of that understanding.
A very good voice to hear today. Sally Abed, thank you so much for talking to us.